Howdy, folks. I'm Brilliant Beluga, boisterously bounding beyond blustery breakers.
I'm Amber.
And here's more blustery breakers for us to bound past. You can see my little ice cream headband has fallen off that Amber has made. You can see the old places where there used to be more cherries on top. I have since eaten them. I have a stomachache. Let's get started. And folks, we have a live stream coming up on Friday. We hope to see you then. For more information, please see the end of the video. I keep forgetting to mention this. Let's get started. Alright folks, and our first letter is titled, Am I a Jerk for Taking a Bite Out of My Wife's Ice Cream Sandwich? This happened like yesterday. We're laughing about it now, but my wife suggested that I post here for fun. She's reading the comments. My wife is 15 weeks pregnant, and yesterday we were out running some errands, and she craved an ice cream sandwich. She asked if I wanted anything, and I said no. She just got one for herself. The ice cream sandwich looked really good, so I asked for a bite. I still didn't want a whole one, but just a taste. But apparently, she thought that I took too big of a bite because she started crying. I got her another one without bite marks, and then she was still sniffling it while eating it. My wife claims that it was nearly half the sandwich. I say it wasn't, but we don't have photo evidence, so am I the jerk? All right, folks, what do you think?
Yes, OP, you're the jerk. I mean, it's good you got her an ice cream sandwich that kind of rectified it, but in general, if you want food, buy yourself the food. Do not eat your pregnant wife's food.
I mean, I think like if the roles were reversed, let's like say she wasn't pregnant, right? And she wanted to take a bite out of OP's, ice cream sandwich. How would you feel about that?
It depends on how OP feels about it and what the size of the bites are.
Yeah.
Because it's one thing if you eat a tiny little bite. It's another thing. Like, so I just feel like some people have no awareness. There's like, of like how big a bite they take, and then they eat like half your thing, and then you're like, but that's not a bite. That's half my food.
Yeah. So, I mean, I agree. I mean, I think like if things were reversed and they needed to basically, and they took a bite of something, it would depend on like how big it really was. But my feelings on pregnancy, I think, are a little bit different, right? I think like a woman who's pregnant is growing a whole child inside of them. And I think your responsibility as a partner is to ensure the development of the child goes as well as possible, right? And that includes making sacrifices. So I think taking a bite out of someone who's pregnant's food is poor form. Let me put it that way.
Right. Well, and also too, if you have a pregnant partner, they are going through a lot physically and
Mm-hmm.
emotionally, and not only ensuring the health of the fetus, but also making sure they have the best physical and mental health that they can right
Yeah.
then. And from what I understand, some people have like very intense pregnancy cravings, and like that's the one food that they can eat right now,
Yeah.
and the only thing they want to eat. And so if you eat that food, then like they don't have the thing they've been craving.
Well, and I also kind of want to point out our perception of the world isn't necessarily accurate from our eyes, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like for instance, if you put on a heavy bag and you're going to walk up a hill, it will look taller to you than if you're not encumbered. I mean, it's just psychological tricks, it's just what our brain does. It's like the blue and black dress versus the yellow,
White and
gold and
gold.
white, Um, so it's just that our eyes aren't perfect here, right? They play tricks on us because that's how we've survived, through time. And the thing is that if she does perceive that this is a large bite, it just may be because of the stuff that's going on inside of her brain right now with the pregnancy and everything like that. It changes her perception of the world. It doesn't mean that her perception is wrong. It means that she, views it differently, right?
Well, I mean, OP might also be like everyone's perceptions are different, and I wouldn't trust OP as the yeah,
Arbiter of decisions here.
yeah, like probably it wasn't literally half her food, but like it was probably a lot more than he wants to acknowledge.
Yeah, but I'm glad that in the end that he bought her an ice cream sandwich, and I'm glad things worked out just fine. But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. But folks, let's see what the Wheel of Judgment has to say. Wheel of Judgment, turn, turn, turn. Tell us the judgment that OP's earned. Clueless, but not the jerk. I mean, maybe. I think that works here. I think maybe the wheel is onto something.
I mean, I think it mostly works, but I do think he was a bit of a jerk. He kind of redeemed himself.
A typical Tuesday says, "You are the jerk. She asked you, you declined. You knew what was on offer, and it's not the first time you've ever heard of an ice cream sandwich. Of course they look enticing and delicious. It's an ice cream sandwich. Also, you're the jerk for probably harboring a secret, well, I'll just have a bite of hers mentality the whole time, which so many husbands do, and they don't use dainty sample bites, they use full rude bites. No, she wanted an ice cream sandwich, even more so because she's pregnant. And no, she didn't want to share with your assuming two big bites taking self. Get your own, she asked first. I mean, I do agree with this person on some of what they're saying here because she did offer. It's not like OP couldn't have bought themselves a sandwich.
Well, that's it. I don't know. I love this comment so much. I love the full rude bites because, like, I feel like I've been in that position before where someone takes a bite of my food, but it's not like a tiny little sample bite. It's a full rude bite. Like, it's the perfect wording for that.
I want to point out that this is probably not me. And Black Cat 78 says, "Full rude bites. I love this. It's so true." And Sweetbitter 1005 says, "Yes, this is what my husband does too. Love the phrase full rude bites. I don't mind sharing, but not half of my ice cream." And Addison Silk says, "Brah, you're treading on thin ice cream sandwich." When a pregnant woman says, "just for me," it means just for her. You might have thought it was a nibble, but to her, it would probably felt like you took a whole chunk of her soul with that bite. Glad you got another one, though. Smart move. Next time, just get your own and let her protect her snack kingdom in peace. You're the jerk, but in a funny, harmless way. And Tenkatism says, "I guarantee that bite was ginormous. Men often take huge bites. Ice cream sandwiches are small. Let her enjoy her snackage." All right, folks, and our next letter is titled, "Am I a jerk for leaving a family gathering and taking the cake with me after getting my feelings hurt?" And I do want to mention that this one involves alcoholism. I am a 27-year-old female, and I hit 1 year sober from alcohol at the beginning of the year. This was a huge accomplishment for me. It was bigger to me than finishing college. I told my family the next time that we were together for a family dinner, I had something to celebrate. This all happened at my mom's. The kids were playing, and the adults were hanging out too. I took a moment to share that I had reached 1 year of sobriety and how good it felt. They went, "Oh, that's what you were talking about? Has it already been a year?" I'm embarrassed to admit, I had hoped someone would say they were proud of me. My brother-in-law, Steve, looked at my sister and they both said, "Well," at the same time, and she said, "Since we're all here, niece just got into a special gymnastics thing. It's been a long road, but she did it." Steve popped some wine that they had brought and started giving everyone glasses and cups. He made eye contact with me and his face fell. I had this gnawing feeling, so I just got up from the table and then I took a walk. I tried to get through the moment mentally so that I could be present for my niece and celebrate her success, but when I got back to the house, my sister asked me why I left without saying anything. I said that I needed a minute to myself. She looked at me funny and said, "Okay." I said that I shared something that I was very proud of, and she bulldozed over it. My mom put her hand up and asked me what my news was, and I said that I told them I hit 1 year of sobriety. Mom says that my generation always wanted to praise for doing the bare minimum, that it wasn't an accomplishment, it was just what I needed to do, like graduating high school. I tried to make it through dinner, but I found myself just not in the mood anymore, so I decided to go home. Here's the direct thing that I'm being called a jerk for. I brought a small berry chantilly cake, my favorite, to share after dinner. It was the one thing that I decided that I had earned. The kids had definitely seen it. On my way out, I decided to take it home with me. I guess when they realized that the cake wasn't in the fridge anymore, my sister called to ask me why I took it. I said because it was my cake to celebrate my accomplishment. She said, word for word, "Are you serious? Oh my goodness, Emma, grow up. You're such a baby." My mom later texted me directly to tell me how disappointed she was that I had thrown a temper tantrum because my niece got more attention than me. I don't think her read of what happened is right, but that's why I'm asking you folks. Am I the jerk because I took home a cake in the end? Was that really childish of me, considering that the kids saw it and they didn't get any? As I was putting on my shoes to leave, Steve found me and directly apologized and said that he was completely oblivious in the moment. I know he didn't do anything intentionally to hurt me. All right, folks, what do you think?
No, not the jerk. And I'm disappointed in your family for not recognizing the difficulty of OP's journey. Um, it is not easy to become sober. It requires essentially rewiring your brain. And, I mean, this isn't something I have personal firsthand experience with, but, I know people who have done it and I know how hard they've struggled. And so it's important to acknowledge that. This was a cake that OP brought to celebrate her sobriety, and her family isn't going to just steal the cake and commandeer the moment.
Yeah, I mean, I do kind of think that for the cake bit, I don't think that OP is in the wrong, because the cake was specifically bought with the purpose of celebrating her accomplishment. And I mean, I do think that this treads in a little bit of a gray area because, like, when you bring something to a family dinner and stuff like that, it's generally kind of like a collective type of thing. But I can understand also why OP wanted to take the cake home to celebrate with it by themselves, right? As for their accomplishment, I mean, I think it is a big deal. I mean, I think that it's really hard to break the cycle of substance abuse rather. And I think that OP did a really great job, and I'm proud that they did this for themselves. And I think that in the comments, people are questioning about, like, oh, well, maybe maybe the family deserves the cake because what OP put them through in the whole, their whole alcoholism, right? And I think that what people are kind of missing here and what OP says in the comments is that the family didn't actually ever care or acknowledge that OP was using alcohol. They never thought it was a big deal. And they always kind of treated her position of abusing alcohol as just fine. So they didn't help her. It wasn't like she was a burden on them or anything like that. So this was something that OP did for themselves and they worked through. So I mean, I do think it's an accomplishment. But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. Alright folks, and our next letter is titled, Am I the Jerk or is my partner just forcing me to conform to their principles and values? Hi all, I need some third-party point of view on this matter. For some context, my partner and I have been dating for slightly under a year now, but recently had the dumbest fight that I have ever had in my entire dating life. My partner is a great cook and likes to cook for me. It helps that he's a non-picky eater and eats everything and anything. For me, yes, I admit that I am picky, but I do give things a try before I totally deem the food items as likable or ew. So recently, my partner made a vegetable pancake that included shiitake mushrooms inside of them. My partner knows that I absolutely hate any dish with them in them, but he loves them, so I don't mind when he puts them in there, because when I eat, I'll just pick them out. I even provided alternative mushroom options for him to include, though by my preference I'd rather not have any mushrooms to be included, but as a compromise, and because I love him, I force myself to accept the alternatives. We keep having these repeated fights where he mentions that when I pick things out of my food, it makes my appreciation for his cooking as conditional. Let me just highlight that I repeatedly thank him for cooking every time. I hug him and I do the dishes sometimes. It also shows that I have no table manners and that I must be spoiled by my parents while growing up, which makes me feel very frustrated and puzzled at the same time. I do not do this in public settings or during family meals, only when it's just the two of us. During group meals, I make a conscious effort to take a bite out of everything and only take repeated ones at the things that I like. He said that if he ever did what I did when he was a child, his parents would have scolded him and thrown him out, which sounded to me like a trauma response and him projecting onto me. I told him that we're both adults and that I'm not stopping him from putting mushrooms in, but I would just prefer not to eat them. I don't make him cook two different versions. I just don't force myself to eat them, and I'll pick them out where I can. He refuses to let me pick them out, and sometimes insists that I should follow him and be grateful that someone even bothers to cook for me. To which I feel at this point, I feel borderline suffocated to have to pretend to like some ingredient in a dish when I really don't like it. So am I the jerk? Is there a way around this? All right, folks, what do you think?
No, not the jerk. This is very controlling behavior from the partner. Everyone is allowed to have foods that they don't like. Like, there are very few people who will eat anything and everything. And it sounds like Shiitake mushrooms in particular are one thing that Opie doesn't like, and her boyfriend is repeatedly feeding to her and trying to force her to conform and eat them. And that's not okay or cool. Like, I understand him wanting to feel appreciated for his cooking, but then make food that your partner doesn't expressly hate.
Well, I mean, that's kind of my problem here, right? Is that this is something that he's doing almost seems like just to impose his will on her, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because he has other mushroom options. He just chooses to use the mushrooms that she dislikes. And then he complains when she picks them out, right?
Right.
So OP's in kind of a no-win situation because if she eats them, it's an unpleasant meal.
Mm-hmm.
If she picks them out, he gets offended that she's being rude, right? And not appreciating the meals that he's cooking. But then he refuses to make a second dish. He refuses, well, I'm not saying that she's forcing him to make a dish or not, but he's not like making a second thing where she can eat it.
Mm-hmm.
He's not working with her using different mushrooms or just leaving them out entirely. He just chooses to be offended each time she does this.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think that OP's in the wrong here. I just think the partner is a controlling partner. But let me know, no, but let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. And the Mighty Koosh says, not the jerk. However, you say that you thank him for doing the cooking, but do you ever tell him that the food is nice? Because it sounds like he thinks that you don't like his cooking, and that is what's bothering him. And Opie replies, yes, I do all the time. If it really doesn't, I'll frame my answer so that I'm sorry the flavor isn't that great this time. Maybe we can try something else next time. And Lion Salam says, you're the jerk. I like how you cooking isn't an option on the menu. And Opie replies, I do cook, but I will respect his preferences. Kinda weird that you automatically pass judgment on this when that's not the point of the question. And Adela987 says, not the jerk. My husband is the exact opposite of a picky eater. The man will eat anything except mushrooms. Pineapple and ham on pizza. Check. Anchovies on crackers. Check. Mushrooms. Not at all. So guess what I don't do? I don't cook things with mushrooms in them. I wouldn't ask him to eat mushrooms. I wouldn't make main courses that has mushrooms in it. I love beef stroganoff, grilled mushrooms on a steak, sign me up. But I can have those things when he's not with me or an order when we go out. Why? Because it's not about whether or not he has manners, it's about taking into consideration the needs of a partner. Your partner is one step down from weaponized incompetence. He is deliberately sabotaging your food so that he can make a big deal out of it. Alright folks, it is tea time. Grab your beverages of choice. I've got some tea right here, and Amber, she has a joke.
Why wasn't the winter wind taken seriously?
Because it was a blowhard.
Because everyone knew it was all bluster.
Oh, I mean, that's what I basically said. Kind of the same thing.
Kind of
Kind of
similar.
the same thing.
And on an unrelated note, today is National Daisy Day.
Oh, well, go find yourself some daisies. Make sure
In
to
the
dig up the
snow.
snow if you have some around. And I have Earl Grey. Alright, folks, that's all the time we have for today. Thank you so much for watching. Happy terrific Tuesday, folks. That's Tuesday spelled with a TWO. Amber, we need some kind of moral advice and or guidance. And please have it on food. Sharing food. I don't know. Food.
Don't steal your partner's food and don't force your partner to eat things they hate.
Yeah. And folks, we have a live stream coming up on Friday. We hope to see you then. For more information, please see this little table here. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you all tomorrow.
Bye!